A marriage in fear and hunger is not what you think. But not in that way. Hear me out. This is the Sylvian ritual that initiates a marriage of flesh, an act of love that merges two bodies into one. This is not a typical act of marriage, this is not a wedding ceremony, and this is not equivalent to saying I do and giving your new partner a kiss. I've seen a bunch of videos where people state that marriage in fear and hunger is not what you think, and state that this is the equivalent to what we in our world would consider a wedding. That, however, is a false assumption. The word marriage does not just mean a wedding, becoming partners, that sort of thing. In this case, a marriage of flesh falls along the lines of any close or intimate association or union, or a blending or matching of different elements or components. The fusing of two bodies into one is quite intimate and blends flesh and blood together. From the lore that can be picked up from the game, this is not a common practice. There are characters in this game who are married, yet do not share the same body as their partner. Ragnvaldr, for instance, is fully independent, and had been married at one point to a woman named Hild, who is deceased. He has his own body, as we can see, and thus did not merge his and her body into one. Thus, there are regular marriages, and then there are Sylvian marriages with a capital M. See, the marriage of flesh is a ritual of the old god Sylvian, who governs love, lust, fertility, and creation. In the world of fear and hunger, she commissioned another god to create humanity in her image, and fell in love with this creation. She only wishes for humanity to love her in return. However, humanity does not understand what type of love she wants from them, as she is a god and we are mortals. There are cults in this world that attempt to use intimacy to display that sort of love to Sylvian, believing that is what she wants from them. This is most apparent in the Meadow of the Bunny Masks in the first game, where you see a bunch of naked worshippers having some fun. You can participate in this ritual to restore health to your party if you want. This suggests Sylvian governs concepts of healing and rejuvenation, and other spells in the game suggest more to that. The ritual of the marriage of flesh is another attempt to display love to Sylvian, though others seem to have used it for practical purposes. Sort of like getting married for tax purposes, if we're going along the lines of that sort of analogy. The lizard mages, moonless guards, human hydra, centaur, and platoon all appear to be marriages between different creatures, and it is implied via Dan's medical diagnosis that Bremen elite troopers are also marriages of flesh. Why would they seemingly give up their individual bodies and integrity? It's simple: preservation and power. In the first game, the only way to restore a lost limb is to become a marriage on a ritual circle. In the second game, there are ritual circles where you can draw a mark of Sylvian to restore lost limbs without merging your body with another. But in the first game, if you become a marriage of flesh, your base attack increases, and you can use almost any weapon type and equip any type of armor or secondary equipment. The previous listed marriages of flesh seem to have undergone the ritual for strategic purposes, rather than any genuine worship for Sylvian. The human hydra is implied to be an amalgamation of guards from before the corruption of the dungeons. They sought to save themselves from the oncoming madness. Instead, they became this hulking mass of bodies upon bodies, and sought only to consume human flesh. This concept of the marriage of flesh seems to have taken inspiration from the alchemical concept of the rebus, described as the end process of the alchemical magnum opus, or great work. It is a balancing of male and female, and of sun and moon. Opposite qualities are purified and united to form such a being. If you want to see a really neat display of such a being in a different piece of media, go watch Castlevania. Even if you don't, if you like Fear and Hunger, still go watch that show. It is my favorite show, and I will get you to watch it. This is a promise. There's a lot more to the intricacies of Sylvian as a god and what she desires from humanity, but that's a story for another time. For now, all you need to know is that the marriage of flesh is a specific ritual done by obscure groups in the world of Fear and Hunger, and does not represent the act of marriage as we know it. The lore is much more interesting than what people wrongly portray it as, and it deserves more respect and appreciation. This world is dense, and it is fascinating to me. If you haven't checked out the game, I highly recommend you do so, especially if you like things like Berserk and Castlevania. I have a lot of fun with playing the games, even if it is hard as hell. It is very rewarding when you can get through an area. Also, I made an OC for the second game. Take a look at her. That's all for today. Thank you, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.